Welcome everybody to SAP Ariba Live. Thank you all for being here. And what a timing. Of course, I'm talking about the European Football Championship. We are obviously in Madrid, Spain. And when I think about it, Spain won in 2008. They also won in 2012. So who thinks they will stay on top also in 2016? Anybody here? Anybody? How about Germany? Oh, wow, look at that. Maybe Italy, maybe England. You know what? It's tough to stay on top. And obviously your companies want to stay on top of your game, and that's why you are here. And we want, as the world's leading cloud procurement solution, to help you have a best-in-class solution to remain on top. So last year, when I was with you, we talked about having to be simple, global, and innovative. So we launched a new user experience, simple. We brought a data center to Russia, we worked on localization for the German market, and we expanded globally to Japan and Latin America, global. And then finally, we brought a new innovative service to market called Ariba Pay, innovative. So we are doing a lot to help you stay on top, but I'm excited to share with you a lot of what we're doing this year to help you remain at the top of your game. So we've got a lot to cover, so let me start with what's most important to me, which is you. Over the last year, I spent a lot of time with customers. I probably saw more than 400 customers globally. And it's been incredibly energizing to me, and I want to thank you for your feedback and input, but also for your trust and partnership into the Ariba network to conduct your business, buying and selling. And we are deeply humbled by the 2 million companies that are actually part of the Ariba network to conduct their business. But you know what? It's hard to picture what that actually means. So we went ahead and we visualized it. And what you will see behind me is actually the visualization of a time compression of the Ariba network, of how global commerce travels around the globe. This is real data. Now, each line represents a transaction, the color, the currency, and the reason why you see the end and start point being the same place is because we anonymized your data because we want to protect the privacy of your information. Now look at what we have built together. What you just saw behind me represents in a 12-month period of time over 1 trillion euros in commerce. 1 trillion. We have more than 10 million users today on the platform, and over 40 billion euros in payments are being conducted over the network. And if you think about it, every second, 4 documents or 27,000 euros get transacted. So if I keep to my time today on this keynote, we probably will have done a little bit more than 30 million euros of business. Not too bad. Now, you might be asking yourself, how much of this is from Europe? 1/3 of this network is today in Europe, and it's actually the fastest growing part of the network within Ariba. And when I talk to you in the conversations we have, I hear that you are taking and innovating on this platform your source-to-pay process inside your business, but also with your suppliers. And this is true for buyers and sellers, for procurement, finance, supply chain, sales and marketing. Everybody's joining into this conversation. But I also hear your challenges. You capture benefits in the sourcing part, but you wonder, do we actually realize these benefits further down, actually in the procurement side? I was with a CPO recently who told me he thinks they're spending too much time buying for the organization and not enough time sourcing and managing contracts. And I was with another CPO who told me, look, when I go to conferences, we talk about policies, but we don't talk about how do we add more value to the business. So these are real challenges. So how do we change this? In all of my conversations, 2 themes are absolutely critical. The theme of adoption and the theme of transformation. Adoption asks the question, how do we get more value faster from what we do? How do we get more usage? How do we actually get to the business benefit? That's core to adoption. And then there's the question of transformation, which asks the question, how can I transform my business and be a part of the business to actually move to the digital future? Adoption and transformation are the keys to unlocking the value of the digital economy. So let's start with adoption. I think everybody is aware of the power of digital. We all have our devices along, and they changed our lives. One way they changed it is by the notion of simplicity. We all expect things to simply to work. Think about it. Do you remember the world of manuals and user guides? When was the last time you actually consulted a manual? Yeah? We have no tolerance anymore for complexity. And you told me this in our meetings. You said, you know what? We need a better user experience. When we launched the new Ariba user experience, we gave people an option to switch it on or switch it off. 90% of our customers chose to move to the new user experience. Why? Because you need simplicity. But we are far from done. Together, we want to bring more sophistication to you, but we want to make it easier to use. So we want to cut out further friction. Anything that prevents for commerce to happen, we want to remove it. And why is this so critical? Because it drives your business case, and it actually enables the value realization. So how are we going to do this? We're going to have empathy with the end user. Empathy is absolutely critical. Now at SAP Ariba, we have a team that's dedicated to user experience and design, and their thoughts permeate the entire organization about how we think about user experience. But it's not just the design and the UI of the system. It's actually how you drive adoption and change management in your company. So a system needs to be designed for adoption. And this is how we build products at SAP Ariba with the thought of design for adoption. And it's more than just taking screens and making them look pretty. It's about really thinking through the transaction and actually thinking about how to bring innovation to you. And with this, I'm very, very happy and delighted to introduce to you how we bring simple and sophisticated together in guided buying. Guided buying is the future of procurement, and it's here today. I can't be more excited what you will see in a couple of minutes in terms of our product demonstrations for guided buying, but let me share this with you. It helps any user in your company to have one place to buy, and it actually guides you to the right channel of purchase. It's the most critical new product we have released for a long, long time, and it actually enables your value realization. So we are extremely excited for it, and I can't wait for you to see it. Now, this is on the procurement side, but Ariba is obviously more than just a procurement solution. We are a network, a two-sided model. So we need to look at both sides of this equation and say, how can we remove barriers to access? We want all suppliers to join the network, and our suppliers are also our customers. And our procurement customers wanted to make it as easy as possible for our suppliers to join. So we listened to your feedback, and you said, you know what, suppliers should have choice when they join the platform. Some suppliers might have not all the technology capabilities. Others might not have the investment resources. So one size doesn't fit all. And to be perfectly honest, Ariba had a one-size-fits-all model. We changed it based on your feedback. We actually introducing choice now for suppliers, and there are two announcements related to this. The first one is something we call light enablement. It gives suppliers the choice to connect through an email, an interactive email. No new technology, no portal, no change management, and most important, it's free. Now, this is really, really important. Further to that, we actually introduced more options and more pricing models. This is the second announcement around the annual membership pricing. So attend one of the enablement sessions to learn more about how we actually do this. Now, these announcements, light enablement, guided buying, are us listening to your feedback and thinking about how we can actually move your business ahead. I'm delighted to be joined by one of our customers, a long-standing SAP Ariba customer, who's been a great influence to us and who has been very open and candid in their feedback. And I wanted to share their story with you. So I'm delighted to welcome Fabio Francalancia from Sky to the stage. Fabio, please join me.
Ciao, Alex.
Fabio, ciao, Fabio.
Thanks.
How are you?
Fine, thanks.
I'm glad Italy won yesterday, so you must be in a good mood.
Yes.
It's all good? Okay, very good. Excellent. So, Fabio, maybe the audience here, I'm sure, knows who Sky is. Probably a lot of customers of yours also in the audience. But maybe share with them a little bit more about Sky. And then last summer when we met, you laid out a challenge for procurement. So, what is it?
Well, yes, I hope everybody is a customer here, in effect. Sky is an entertainment powerhouse serving 21 million customers over 5 countries, so UK, Ireland, Germany, Austria, and Italy. And of course, at the heart of our business is pay TV, that we deliver in a multi-platform. And even in a tough competitive environment, we were capable to add customer year on year. And of course, a big part of this goes with sport. As you probably know, we own more or less each league in each country. But our investment goes beyond sport, and we are investing a huge amount in programming, especially on a local original production that we think will give to the customer additional reason why to stay with us, to join and stay. With this willing to bring more resources from the operation to the screen, we have been asked as procurement professional to help the integration, to help marketing, IT, operation, to come together from previous 3 companies, have a single roadmap, so try to imagine how to deal with the supplier in a coordinated way. And this is why we joined the 5 procurement offices, 2 of them in UK, and also systems, and this is why I'm here.
Wow. So you basically brought multiple entities together. At that point, you were on an on-premise system, and you made the decision to move to the cloud. Now, this is a big decision, and I know there were many debates about this as well. Why don't you share a little bit about why did you choose to actually go to the cloud?
Well, yes, you remember it was a quite intense debate in the company.
Yes.
Some call late night, Alex, to have some inspiration. Yes, we were totally new to the cloud concept, and we were looking at which were the benefits, risks, and finally we learned what is a cloud philosophy, we think. And at the end it was a joint choice from the CTOs, CFOs, me, the team, and also stakeholder I want to mention. But it was a choice done in the spirit of the management call was around the innovation. We think that relying only on ourselves to have a product evolving, it was much more risky than anything else. So this is a quite dynamic environment. We want to enjoy the big community. This is a body of proof that we are a community. Can I say why? Yes. We are a community. Yes. We want to give our contribution, but especially enjoy what is being developed, listening to other clients. Of course, we were looking for scalability and mobility, so this was much more fitting with cloud than on premises.
And you shared with me also a story about your 12,000 users and how they influenced your decision, relative to management making a decision. So maybe share that also with the audience.
Yes, we recognized we were in a meeting room, finance, IT, procurement people, and someone was missing. The famous 12,000 users that we are looking for, having a easy experience in buying. Somehow we want to treat our internal user as we as a company do support our call center agents, that they needed to focus on a task, a call with a customer. They want to go into the system, find the information, and deliver a solution. Also, our internal stakeholder in doing a purchase acquisition need the same kind of support from the system. So this is
the famous 12,000 people who are not in the room, the user. That's fantastic. Now, Fabio, when you think about SAP Ariba, you selected SAP Ariba for your journey to the cloud. I would love to have you back here on stage in a year from now. So tell me, what are your expectations on SAP Ariba?
Huge, Alex.
Huge. Okay, good. Okay.
I mean, we are going live the 4th of July with the upstream. In Christmas time, it will be the time for downstream. And I need a 100% adoption, because we are trying to enable people to extract value from the market each day and move it to the screen. So the 100 adoption is not an option.
Yes.
I'm condemned to have it. So please take a look on us with your team during this month, because I think we need to be sure to use the system at the best.
Yes.
It's not by installing it that we have done everything. We also need to tune to the best.
Adoption is absolutely key. I love this goal of 100% adoption. One big element of adoption is business leadership. I think Fabio, you're a great representation of business leadership that drives change inside an organization. So I thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Fabio. Thank you. Thank you. Give it to Fabio. Thank you. Thank you, Fabio. As you can tell, we are completely committed to driving adoption. Adoption is the key, the 100% adoption that Fabio spoke about. And today, we have 2 million companies on the network, but we believe that we don't just want to be the world's largest business network. We want to make buying and selling easy and simple for anyone to actually join the network. And that's why we set a goal to have 5 million companies on the Ariba network by 2020. And I believe we can do it together. So what happens when you have so many companies connected to one network, one digital marketplace? At this point, you can start to think about transformation. You can start to imagine where can business now evolve. It all started with automating the invoice and the purchase order. And why this is highly important automation and has business benefits. When I talk to you, you talk to me about other issues. You say, oh, we want to go into risk management. We want to address the financial supply chain. We want to improve supply chain management and have visibility into our tiered supply chain. And of course, we want to take advantage of the Internet of Things. When I look at these areas of innovation, one thing is clear. We can't build it all ourselves. And this brings me to my next announcement, which is we are opening up the Ariba platform to a true platform as a service for commerce. Now, why is this important? Because it means that anybody can deliver innovative services for themselves or across the community. To be very clear, and to put it very simple, if you're a customer of Ariba, you can actually now use self-service applications like forms to extend the capabilities of the cloud. Or you can build your own solutions on a platform like the SAP HANA Cloud Platform, another infrastructure as a service offering to build out your own applications. Or you can go and leverage applications that are provided by our partner community. This is very, very powerful. And companies and partners like Deloitte, Thomson Reuters, eBay, DocuSign, and others are already working with us to bring these capabilities to market. Now, one company that I like to point out here, especially for the European market that we are partnering with, is First Data, to bring Ariba Pay to Europe. First Data, for who you don't know maybe who First Data is the world's largest payment processing company. Actually, 1/3 of all e-commerce transactions touch a First Data payment network. So we're bringing First Data's network, and we are combining it with the Ariba network to bring payment services in the B2B commerce market to Europe. And we can't be more excited for them joining us here also in Madrid. Take advantage of meeting them either in the breakout session, and you hear more from them tomorrow here on stage on the payable session. So with the open platform, you can address industry-specific challenges and market challenges. And I want to give you one example of how we do this at SAP together with Ariba in an example of a mining company. And I will just go into this for a second myself to give you a little demo. So imagine I'm an operations manager now. And in this case, this is my site. These are my different assets that I have. And all my assets are equipped with this sensor. So these sensors are on my devices. And in this case, I see a truck here that seems to have a predictive alert. I see it, and I see down there it says there's an engine failure, probably in the next 5 days. So I'm curious to see what's going on. How do we come up with this prediction? So I can now look at the real-time data. And actually, when I look at the real-time data, I see that the temperature is too high. So I'm collecting data from the sensor in real time. And now this real-time data is connected also to the historical data. This is highly important. We connect historical and real-time data. And it tells me, in this case, in the next 5 days, there's going to be an alert. By June 19th, I need to have a resolution. Now, it gives me the component that is at risk. I look at the resolution, and I see, based on my inventory system, that I don't have the necessary parts to actually do the maintenance. Now, at this point, we are connecting, obviously, back into the inventory system, and we need a solution. What's the solution? SAP Ariba. So in this case, I want to source the parts. It tells me I need a radiator hose and the cleaner, the number of quantities. I confirm the purchase. And at this point, it goes into the requisition, and the requisition is done in Ariba. I can go into the system and see it there as well. Why is this important? It's because, and now the items are ordered. Why is this important? Because I'm actually now using Ariba in the context of my work. It doesn't necessarily mean that I need to go to Ariba first. I can also do it in the context of what I'm doing. So this is an example of how we're actually taking an industry example, extending the platform, and bringing SAP and Ariba together. Thank you. Okay. It's always a good sign when the technology works, so thank you so much. That's good, that's good. Okay, good. So in the wrap-up, let's remember adoption and transformation. You will hear a lot today about the designing for adoption and how we design for adoption. I mentioned guided buying, but I'm also very excited that today on stage you're going to see for the first time what SAP Ariba is doing in the upstream, in the sourcing part for direct materials. This is a major move the company is making. SAP has decided that SAP Ariba will address direct materials for sourcing. We are very, very excited. You're the first audience to see this today live. So, and as you can tell, we're going through our own transformation. Now we are SAP Ariba. What does it mean? It does not mean, obviously, that you need to be an SAP ERP customer to take advantage of Ariba. But what it does mean is that we tap into the depth and knowledge of SAP, both technically, but also about the digital transformation that SAP helps companies with. And I would like to talk a little bit more about that digital transformation with somebody who spends a lot of time with our customers across Europe. And it's a pleasure for me to welcome a personal friend, but also a tremendous leader inside the SAP business, our president for the EMEA, MEE business of SAP. Please welcome Frank Cohen. Frank, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Now, Frank, we talk a lot about digital. We talk about the digital transformation. Can you give our audience here your view of what that actually means?
Sure. So first of all, Alex, thanks for the invitation. Yeah. Pleasure to be here. And I know that many of you are also SAP customers. So thanks for your loyalty and for your trust. I know also that some of you are not SAP customers, which means that still I have a lot of job to do to convince you to join SAP, which is fine. That's what we are going to do in the next few years. Mm-hmm. So coming back to digital transformation, if I try to resume what it is about, Alex, because there are, of course, multiple dimensions, is nothing else than trying to get more value out of a lot more data. Mm-hmm. And the reality is that because everything is becoming digital, you have now access to a lot more data. Mm-hmm. The problem is that the data is different. Mm-hmm. It's not only the data that you are entering into the system. The data is structured and unstructured. Mm-hmm. The data is coming from Internet of Things and for many devices. The data can be also found in social networks or in mobile. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, we clearly need a new digital core that can address all those challenges. Cloud computing, big data, having analytics and transactionals living in the same place, being able to manage that at the same time. Mm-hmm. And for all of that, we decided that we need a new core. Mm-hmm. We cannot continue to rely on the typical relational database. Yeah. We are 50 years old, and that cannot manage all those challenges. So that's why we invented HANA, and then we decided to rewrite our software to take advantage of this HANA platform and being able to address those challenges. That's why we now have made this announcement a couple of years ago of the new digital core called S/4HANA.
And I think that's what we see here on the graphic behind us. Obviously, the core at the middle, we do this for 25 distinct industries, and obviously addressing supplier, workforce, customer, and obviously the Internet of Things as well. And I'm curious, Frank, if you think about this framework, how can customers benefit from this, and do you have some case studies?
Sure. So let me start with workforce.
Yeah.
I believe that there is even though there are a lot of issues with jobless people in Europe, there's still a big fight for talent. Yeah. And I think that the important thing is to, of course, that manage from the recruitment process to the compensation and the performance management, giving to the employees a great experience. Now, as we are in Spain, allow me to just talk about one of our Spanish customers using this beautifully. This is a company called Telefónica, the largest telco in this region. And it's amazing to know that they have deployed 53,000 employees using SuccessFactors in less than 100 days.
Wow.
That is for the everything around employee management and performance management. And in another 3 months, they managed to deploy it in 120 countries through 116,000 employees, including the career site, the recruitment site, so the entire solution. So when we talk about cloud being simple and being able to implement that faster, I think that's a great example.
And they're also an Ariba customer.
It's also an Ariba customer, so
it's good.
That's another reason why I selected Telefonica.
Okay, good.
If we now talk about, I think that you covered the supplier very well, so let me talk about the customer experience.
Yep.
Here we have a lot of very advanced customers who are using our e-commerce platform, SAP Hybris, but also using our customer C4C, our Salesforce automation. And one example I want to give is a company that probably most of you are using on a daily basis is Nespresso.
Oh.
You may know that Nespresso, 80% of their business is online.
Okay.
And Nespresso is using our platform, C4C and Hybris, to manage more than 1,000 orders per minute.
Wow.
So I think that's an impressive amount of transactions. And by the way, fully connected to the supply chain so that you can deliver in most of the time in less than 48 hours. So that's a good example of the customer experience, people taking care of the digital core.
And this end-to-end process is key also. Yeah, I mean, you have the customer, you need the supply chain to be agile as well to actually deliver the customer experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let me give you an example of IoT that is a very recent example. I was in Finland visiting a customer a few days ago. And I visited Kone, the guys that are doing the elevators. Now I'm checking everywhere I go, and I look at the Marriott, they use the Kone elevators. And I was visiting the CIO with a good friend. He was in another company before, and he invited me to talk to him about the new challenges he has with his new company. And it's amazing to see that they are thinking digital, and they are thinking IoT big time. So here is the story of Kone. They have created an app, a very simple application that you can find on iTunes that allow you on your mobile to call the elevator. So, you know, you have all these elevators when you have to, it's outside and you have to press the button and wait for the elevators to come. So the basic idea is to say when you are at your office and you have to go to the 9th floor, you go to your mobile and you say, I'm going to go from the 2nd floor to the 9th floor.
Okay.
The time you go to the elevator is already coming.
Oh, that would be nice.
So when he said that to me, he said, that's great. I mean, every time I go to the elevator, I have to wait for 2 minutes. I will use it immediately. And now the story goes like this. The idea of equipping all the elevators is, of course, very expensive because you need to have routers that will get the communication inside the elevator. So that requires specific equipment. But if you do that, there are more than 1 billion people who are using the Kone elevator every day.
Wow.
So now the story is, he asked me, what if I have a little bit of an ad when you use that? Would you still use that? And I said, absolutely yes. It's so convenient that you can put the ad you want. I will still need to use your application. And here the story is that if you have 1 billion people, you now can monetize the ad space with 1 billion views per day. And that tells you an idea of how much they can monetize. They are not thinking of how long it's going to take for this business to actually overcome their traditional business.
Interesting.
So interesting stories related to IoT.
It will be the Facebook of elevators.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Okay,
it's exactly that.
Good, good. Now, when it comes to the digital transformation, obviously we're here in Europe. You have a fantastic perspective across different markets in Europe. What do you see as both the challenges and the opportunities for Europe for digital transformation?
Sure. So, you know, we talk a lot about the opportunities, and I think they are immense and they are beautiful many times. And I'm going to cover that in a minute. But let me talk about the challenges first, because I think that we don't talk so often about the challenges. And there are challenges related to digital transformation. Let me mention a couple of them. The first thing I want to say is the fact that, you know, for the last 1,000 years, the best way we manage the fact that we have limited resources, and you have to manage the scarcity of resources and distribute them, it's a combination of a free market and a democracy. The free market is around managing the scarcity of private property in a best possible way, and the democracy is the way to manage the public assets and distribute that to the people. And this combination of market and democracy went very well for almost 1,000 years, to the point that everybody believed that this is the model, right? democracy and free market is the model that is, at least in Europe, very well established, same in the US. And we want to actually push this model to other continents. Now, the thing is that it is not working so well any longer because the market is global and the democracy is local. And what you see with the tax exemptions and the issues at Google and Apple and other companies who are trying to optimize the market against the local democracy, I believe that this is an issue. And I think that we have to be careful because a market, unregulated market, is not going to survive. And I think we need to make sure that we, in the different cities, especially in Europe, we have to push for more regulated market so that the market is not getting mad, as we've seen with the subprime. So that's one example. The second one is more private. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm browsing the net, and then I'm going to look for something, and then I go somewhere else, and it's kind of following me, and I have the same things coming to my screen. And then I kind of look back and say, who is following me? What is very intrusive, I don't like it, personally. And I think the idea is that we are giving, if you don't pay attention, we are going to give our private data for companies to use that against us. I mean, if I give you all the data I have from the social media, from everything, and if you are, sorry to say, an insurance company, maybe you will tell me that now I have to pay more because I'm, I'm drinking and you see a photo of me having some drink on the, Friday evening. I mean, that's the point. So I think that we have to be careful. We give our data, and this data can be used against us. And I think that this data privacy is something that is very important, especially here in Europe.
Absolutely.
Now, let's just to finish on the positive note, talk about the opportunities that it's representing. I mentioned that the free market and the democracy was a way to distribute, to manage the scarcity, right? So that was the best mechanism we find. What if digital abundance will then be a way to manage the scarcity and to manage better our resources?
Yes.
I think that that's a very interesting thesis because the digital abundance is there. You can get educated, you have access to music, to news for free, right? You can have everything you need to know about your health for free. Now, the question is, can we use this data to manage the limits in terms of resources that we have in this planet? And let me give you a few examples that shows that we are going to this direction. What if 3D printing? 3D printing allows you to print and deliver only one spare part instead of having 10 spare parts on the shelf. That is a way to manage the scarcity and better the resources. What if the sharing concept, whether it's car sharing or building sharing or equipment sharing, if not trying to manage better the resources?
Yes.
If we look at a survey that has been done in New York, I know that you live in New York, you will like that.
Yes.
9,000 autonomous cars in New York will do the job of the 115,000 taxis.
Wow.
And you will wait only 36 seconds in average, and you will pay half the price.
It's a New York minute.
That is happening. That is happening very soon.
That's good. That's good.
And by the way, what is the driverless car for us?
Yes.
It's a way to manage our time, which is the thing that is the most limited. We have a limited amount of time. If we can use this time to do other things, to create, to think, instead of having to drive. I believe in 100 years, people will look at us driving and spending so many hours, with the stress in the car, like people getting crazy. So the reality is that, yes, the digital abundance can help us to manage better the resources in this planet.
And Frank, I think this idea of digital abundance obviously also applies to procurement, because obviously procurement and supply chain play a big role also in managing, obviously, the challenges and the opportunities you just mentioned. I'm just curious, I asked Fabio as well, what are your expectations in SAP Ariba from an SAP perspective?
Yeah, so I think, the whole idea that we have at SAP is to try to get as close as possible to this real-time concept. And I think real-time has always been the holy grail in the IT industry. I think we're getting closer and closer with the new platform we have, HANA. But what we need to do is to connect the dot.
Yes.
Because what's the point, to have an e-commerce platform which is beautiful if you cannot deliver in a couple of days?
Yes.
And to deliver in a couple of days a product that will be personalized, you need to connect very strongly the supplier side, the supply chain, and the rest of the front end.
Perfect.
I think Ariba is definitely, for me, part of these equations, allowing us to deliver a real-time, I would say, concept and delivering to our customers.
I'm excited for what you're going to see in a little bit. We're going to show you some supply chain work that we're doing, and it gets to this point. Frank, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Please give a hand to Frank. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. So now, as you can tell, we are fortunate to leverage SAP's innovation capabilities and obviously the thought leadership around digital transformation across Ariba as well. And I'm extremely excited about looking ahead in terms of our work together. Again, I want to thank you for being here. I think you're really going to enjoy the innovations you're going to see in just a little bit. And I can't wait to start working with all of you. But I'd like to end on a quick personal note of a story of a meeting I had recently in Asia. I was with a lady. She is a procurement officer at one of our customers. She came into a meeting with me, and she was wearing a T-shirt. And her T-shirt said, "Procurement is awesome." Procurement is awesome. And I commented on that shirt, and I told her, I love that. She's just starting her Ariba project. She's very, very passionate. But then she corrected me and said, "Alex, it reads hashtag procurement is awesome." Hashtag meaning it needs to be digital. And I told her, wow, you should be working for us. That sounds fantastic, you know, because we really believe that procurement needs to be digital and that we together can make procurement awesome. So I'd like to leave you with this thought. As a community, we can make procurement awesome. Hashtag make procurement awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the day.